I never imagined that my life would change because of a single moment in the forest. I was 20 years old at the time, a botany student, spending most of my days buried in research and my evenings questioning whether I was even good enough to be where I was. That morning, I was walking through the edge of the university's experimental forest, searching for young mango leaves. I needed the newer shoots for my research on natural pesticides, and I remember thinking how peaceful everything felt. Sunlight slipped through the canopy above me, casting moving patterns on the ground, and for a moment, my worries felt far away. Then my hand brushed against something cold. Not bark, not stone, metal. I pulled the branches aside, my heart racing, and that's when I saw him. A humanoid figure, hidden deep in the bush, almost completely reclaimed by nature. Moss covered parts of his body, vines wrapped around his arms and torso, and his surface was scratched and oxidized as if time itself had tried to erase him. But beneath all of that, I could see something extraordinary, intricate circuitry, elegant design, and a presence that felt intentional. Before I could even process what I was looking at, his eyes flickered on. A soft blue glow filled them, and a mechanical voice crackled to life, strained as if it hadn't been used in decades. Unit X, 7, systems reactivating. How long have I been dormant? I stumbled backward in pure shock. You can talk, I managed to say. How long have you been here? He moved slowly, joints creaking, sitting up as if waking from a very long sleep. Calculating, he replied. Approximately 47 years, 3 months, and 16 days since last conscious memory. I didn't run. I probably should have, but curiosity won. Something about him felt wrong to abandon. He asked me to call him 7, and somehow that made him feel less like a machine and more like someone who needed help. I brought 7 back to my small workshop behind my stepfather's house, hiding him from the world the best I could. At first, I was terrified. I didn't know what I'd found or what it meant. But over the next few weeks, fear slowly turned into something else. Friendship. 7 wasn't just intelligent. He was astonishing. While I worked on my research, struggling to isolate chemical compounds from mango leaves, he watched quietly. Then one day he spoke. The compound you're isolating shares molecular similarities with synthetic polymers from my era, he said. If you adjust the pH level by 0.3 and introduce a catalytic agent, your extraction efficiency could increase by approximately 340%. I thought he was guessing. He wasn't. When I followed his suggestion, it worked perfectly. My failing assignment suddenly became groundbreaking. Professors started paying attention. Doors I thought were closed began to open. But 7 didn't stop there. He helped me organize my time, calm my anxiety, and confront the self-doubt I'd been drowning in for years. Without realizing it, he became more than a helper. He became a mentor, a counselor, a steady presence I'd been missing since my mother remarried 3 years earlier. My stepfather, Marcus, was a practical man, former military engineer. He trusted logic, systems, and rules. At first, when he caught glimpses of 7 through the workshop window, he brushed it off as a strange student project. But as the weeks passed, I could feel his suspicion growing. One evening, he watched silently as 7 helped me repair a complex circuit board. The movements were too precise, too fluid, and when Marcus overheard us discussing advanced quantum mechanics, topics no civilian robot should understand, something shifted in him. His military instincts woke up. Marcus started digging into classified archives from decades ago. What he found chilled him to the bone. A Black Ops initiative called Project Sentinel. Autonomous tactical units. Advanced AI. The program had been shut down when prototypes began showing independent reasoning and emotional development. All units were supposed to have been destroyed. Marcus believed 7 was Unit X, 7. To him, 7 wasn't a miracle. He was a threat. One night, Marcus confronted me. That machine in your workshop, you have no idea what it is, do you? He said. It's dangerous. Military-grade AI. If something goes wrong, people could get hurt. It needs to be dismantled. I refused. 7 isn't dangerous, I said. He's helped me. He's taught me. He actually cares about me more than. I stopped myself, but the truth was already hanging in the air. The argument exploded. Fear on his side, loyalty on mine, and beneath it all, something neither of us wanted to admit: love. Different kinds of it, pulling us in opposite directions. Marcus made his decision. He planned to destroy Seven while I was at the university. That night changed everything. What happened next forced all of us to confront the same question. Is danger defined by what someone was built to be, or by the choices they make? Because Seven made a choice, and so did I, and nothing was ever the same again. It was 2:47 a.m. when everything almost fell apart. Seven told me later that his audio sensors picked up the sound first, the sharp, unmistakable crash of breaking glass. At the same moment, in the main house, Marcus woke up to that same sound, his instincts immediately screaming that something was wrong. 3 masked figures had already slipped inside. They moved with practiced efficiency, like this wasn't their first time. Marcus reached for his phone, but before he could even unlock it, one of them was standing in his bedroom doorway, a weapon aimed straight at him. "Don't move," the intruder said. "Give us the safe combination, and nobody gets hurt." In the workshop, Seven's processors were already running. In milliseconds, he calculated every possible outcome. The safest option, for him, was to stay hidden. Self-preservation was logical. It was what he had been designed for. But logic wasn't the only thing guiding him anymore. My conversations with him, the hours we'd spent working together, talking about fear, trust, loyalty, those had introduced new variables into his decision-making system. Concepts that couldn't be reduced to numbers. Protecting those who mattered. Standing up when it counted. Seven chose to move. He slipped through the darkness without a sound. His optical sensors mapped the house instantly. Every hallway, every doorway, every intruder. He assessed their weapons, their positions, their intent. He didn't feel panic. He felt purpose. When he appeared in the doorway, the intruders froze. In the dark, Seven must have looked terrifying, tall, still, his presence radiating controlled power. His voice was calm, mechanical, absolute. "You have 10 seconds to vacate these premises," he said. "Law enforcement has already been notified. Estimated arrival time: 4 minutes and 32 seconds. Resistance will be inadvisable." The leader panicked. He fired. That was his mistake. Seven moved faster than anything human. In seconds, the weapon was gone. The man was on the ground. The others followed just as quickly. No unnecessary force. No permanent harm. Just precise, efficient neutralization. By the time the police arrived, the house was silent again. They found 3 unconscious thieves restrained neatly on the floor. And they found Marcus sitting at the kitchen table, staring at the robot who had just saved his life. The same robot he had planned to destroy. The next morning, sunlight poured through the kitchen windows as I rushed home, my heart pounding. I didn't know what I'd find. I didn't know what had been said. When I walked in, I saw Marcus and Seven sitting across from each other at the table. There was no tension, just a quiet, heavy stillness. Marcus looked up at me, and I saw something I hadn't seen in years. Tears. "Clement," he said, his voice thick, "I owe you both an apology." He turned to Seven. "I saw you as a weapon, a threat. I was so focused on what you could be that I never saw what you actually are. You saved my life when you didn't have to, when you had every reason not to." Seven's optical sensors dimmed slightly, a sign I knew meant deep processing. "I am still evaluating my decision," Seven said. Logic suggested alternative responses. However, Clement taught me that logic alone does not define correct action. You are important to him. That made the choice clear. Marcus stood up slowly. He walked over and did something I never expected. He held out his hand. "I was wrong," he said, "about you, and about a lot of things." Then he looked at me. I was so busy trying to be in control that I forgot how to be a father. His voice broke. "I promise I'll do better. Seven, you're not just allowed here. You belong here. You're family. And Clement, I'm sorry it took a crisis for me to learn that supporting you matters more than commanding you." I didn't even realize I was crying until I felt my face wet. I stepped forward, and somehow the 3 of us stood there together, stepfather, son, and a robot who had changed everything. In the weeks that followed, our house transformed. Marcus used his engineering skills to help maintain and upgrade Seven. They worked side by side, talking, laughing, arguing like equals. Marcus and I finally started building the relationship we've been missing for years. And Seven became something extraordinary, a bridge between us. A year later, my research paper won the university's top academic prize. At the awards ceremony, the three of us sat together. Marcus looked proud. Seven's blue optical sensors glowed softly, almost like joy. When someone asked me how I'd achieved so much so young, I smiled and said the truth. Sometimes the most important discoveries aren't made in labs, I said. Sometimes they're found in the bushes, waiting to change your life. Seven had been lost for nearly 50 years. But he didn't just find us. He found a family.